You may know them for their wood glues, but did you know Titebond also has a complete selection of construction adhesives? Designed for a variety of applications, Titebond's adhesives make any building or home improvement project a breeze with their high-performing and durable formulas. These adhesives are trusted by the professional, providing squeak-free subfloor installations, long-lasting retaining walls, and even fastener-free feature walls. Check out Titebond's construction adhesives at titebond.com, including their newest award-winning adhesive, Tight Grab Plus. Oh boy, so our first question comes from James in Dayton, Ohio. Hey, FHB Podcast. I've been living in my house for 15 years now. It was rehabbed by a local real estate developer and agent. He installed a steel front entry door that's half glass. It likely came off the rack at the home center. It has a traditional design with a 9-light insulated glass panel with fake divided lights and 2 fake stamped panels in the bottom. The backside has become dented and the jambs are rotting where they meet the sill. I'd like to replace it, but entry doors cost a fortune. I found a Craftsman-style fiberglass door at Home Depot for less than $500. I like the no denting or rusting of fiberglass doors. Would this be a good door for someone with a modest budget? What about a traditional wood door? They're better looking, but the affordable ones are veneered, and I've seen the veneer start to peel off in a couple instances. Finally, maybe I'll just ask, are there any decent-looking, affordable entry doors? Maybe I shouldn't complain. The cheap one I have lasted for 15 years. I've enlisted a carpenter friend to help with the installation. Any tips for a smooth install that's free of problems later? So, are there any affordable, good-looking entry doors? What was
he found it.
What? The Craftsman door?
I was telling you before the show, that's the exact same door that Sarah and I had in our house in Millbrook, New York. And we bought it for the same reasons that he was talking about. And I had my painter buddy, Mike DeBlasi, put a really awesome paint finish of Fine Paints of Europe, high gloss paint on it. And it looked great.
Any durability problems? Was it used a lot?
It was our main door to come in and out of the house.
Cheap. I'm surprised how they can sell it for $500.
Yeah, it was our main door to come in and out of the house. And the one thing that I did was I mulled a side light to it, which turned out to be a really good thing because then the dogs wouldn't bang on the door. They would just stand in front of the side light and look out the side light. Whereas now, the doors that we have, the dogs are always trying to bang on the bottom panels of the door. So it held up really well. We were really happy with that door.
Good to know. Grant, what do you tell clients who, can't spend thousands of dollars on an entry system? What are you going to recommend for $500 or $1,000 without side lights or a transom?
Yeah, like this door that's listed is decent. In my area, some of the very basic Therma-Tru doors can be right around that $1,000 mark. And then we actually have, I've actually had good luck too. We have like a building surplus store, and I've installed a couple of those doors for people on really tight budgets. And I think a lot of it is, if you have a good installation and the installation is protected maybe by an overhang and you know how to flash it properly, a lot of these issues can be, it lessens the effect that a potentially cheap door can have.
So the observation I made about cheap doors is that the jamb bottoms rot in our climate, and unfortunately they don't paint them at the factory. They're often bare wood, and sometimes they make a half-hearted attempt to bed the jambs and the brick mold and sealant when they put the sill on, right? But it doesn't seem to last forever. So you're suggesting, Grant, that if you have it more protected, it's going to prevent that rot at the bottom of the jambs and brick mold, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Any tips for a problem-free install, guys? These glass panel doors are freaking really heavy, even ones with half glass. Any tips to make them stay straight and sturdy?
I think you have to use, I would say tapered wood shims, not any of these thin plastic U-shaped things that a lot of people like to use now instead of shims. But I'm a big fan of the old school wood shims, and then making sure that you use the screws in the hinges to also attach the hinge side to your rough framing. If you can nail that, then you're going to have a good door install.
So door manufacturers pack longer screws, usually taped to the door, that are meant to go through the hinge leaves, through the jamb, into the framing. And half-baked carpenters, throw these away or put them in their, screw box and never be seen again. Yeah.
Yeah, the other thing that you want to do is make sure that you do a good job of mortising your deadbolt latch and actually put in the safety security piece that goes into a deeper mortise in the door jamb. That's often forgotten or
because no
ignored.
one can tell once the strike's there.
Yeah.
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 What do you think, Grant? How do you keep these heavy glass panel doors from sagging? Is Ian got it right? Is that all you need to do?
Yeah. I think the most important thing is two most important things are a firm attachment on the top hinge. That needs to be tight and screwed to the wall or to the jamb. And then, you can use the Gary Katz method to get rid of the little pinch at the bottom, which is almost inevitable. If you stick a shim just in right above the top of the bottom hinge, it will open that reveal up and then fasten that off and, adjust to fit. But those are the two big spots to keep the reveals accurate.
Say that again. So when you put the top screw in, it has a tendency to close the margin on the jamb side at the bottom. Is that right? Do I have that right?
Well, no. The top screw that's in the top hinge will pull the top of the door over from sagging. But then what happens is, just because there's always going to be some sag in the door, the bottom will always pinch together. So the bottom of the door compared to the bottom of the jamb is always pinched. So if you take a shim and stick it right above the top of the bottom hinge, it just moves that jamb ever so slightly and it kicks the bottom of the door out, and then you have an even reveal the whole way.
Cool. Yeah, wish you great success, James. I'd say I'm surprised that we got a thumbs up on this door. I imagined it would have some trade-offs with its low cost, but it seems like a decent product.
No. I've told a few people this, that if I hadn't ended up in an office job as I have when I moved back to Wisconsin, my business idea was going to be as a one-person carpentry show that only installed entry doors, and I was going to be the front door man.
You need to, protect that domain name and get the T-shirts printed. You don't really need to do this, but that's pretty good.
Have chat work up a little logo for you.
Yeah,
I'm sure that
I
would be
figured
great.
entry doors, people are willing to spend money on them. Everybody wants them to work, and they're really close to the driveway where you park and set up your tools.
Yes.
So you don't have to go very far.
I think that's the most important.
About.
I think that's the most important thing, to be honest.
Yeah.
Interestingly, Therma-Tru conducts these studies, and they ask folks what this house is worth based on whatever, and then they put one of their doors on the front of it, and what is this house worth? And oftentimes it shows a sizable increase that folks judge a house by its attractiveness and function of the front door, which I shouldn't surprise me, but it surprises me a little bit.
You're surprised by the superficialness of humanity.
Yeah. That's like if you put crown molding in a room, it automatically adds $20,000.
This room's fancy.
Yeah. I think in terms of doors, one thing, I don't know what, Ian, if you've had experience with these, but like people who do entry doors, but they want like the double French doors that's a trend that almost needs to die, because they always sag and they never look right.
They never seal worth anything either.
Yeah, it's so hard to get them to operate properly.
French doors, entry doors, patio doors are very difficult to get correct, and it's hard to get the design pressure ratings on those compared to other door systems because of their flimsiness. Yeah, not a fan.
It's a great door that James found, though. Go for it, man.
I'll put a link on the podcast page if any of you are curious. I don't want to exactly, advertise for the home center, but good products that are a reasonable price are always going to get a nod in the podcast.